Good afternoon. It's Monday, the beginning of a new week. Well, this week started out with a big surprise. Yes, they said, oh, there's 20, 30, maybe 40% chance of snow. Well, it started to snow and just kept snowing and kept snowing, and actually, it was sticking to the grass. There was some accumulation. Of course, it was melting on the roads, so the roads didn't get bad, which was a good thing. Our first snow, October 19th, seems awfully early for snow. But it is what it is. It happens. There are things that happen in this life, life that we don't expect. Um, God sometimes works that way. He works in our lives in ways that we don't always expect. Just look at the cross. People were looking forward to the Messiah. God sent prophets saying, look, the Messiah is coming. There is the anointed one coming from God who will deliver you. And they thought that the Messiah would be a mighty warrior, a king warrior who would overcome their enemies and restore Israel to its once political greatness. But that's not what God had planned. Instead of sending a mighty warrior, he sent a suffering servant, the language used in the prophet Isaiah. And the suffering Messiah was Jesus Christ, the suffering servant. He was born of woman in a backwater town, not of a royal family. Yes, it was a royal family. He was of David's family through his earthly father, David. But he was brought to Bethlehem, where he was born in a cattle stall. Not a real great start to the Messiah, but that's what God chose. The shepherds heard it, were the first to hear the good news. And then Jesus grew up in Nazareth. Nazareth was, I suppose, would you consider it a backwater, but also it was a hotbed for religious fervor. So it made sense that Jesus would come from Nazareth. But then Jesus was raised as a carpenter. That's what his father was. Joseph was a carpenter. He traveled. Then he was baptized by John. But instead of trying to overthrow the governments, what did Jesus do? He taught love. He hung out with the tax collectors and the sinners. And look at the disciples whom he gathered. They were not your top-notch people of society. Jesus healed the sick, fed the hungry, forgave the sinner. And in the end, what happened? Jesus hung on the cross. And what does it say about one who is hung on the cross? On the tree, they are cursed. Jesus was cursed for us. Now, that is not how it was supposed to go, though, for most people. But that is what God has chosen. God works in mysterious ways. How is God at work in your lives? Just take a look and say, that's God at work. God does work in surprising ways. But the thing is, God is at work and God loves us. Hey, have a beautiful day. Enjoy this first snow. God's blessings.